didn't have enough tips for half the people, so half are going to decorate their cupcake while the other half do cake balls, and then we're going to swap. And that's kind of why we're doing it this way. And I probably could have spent a whole night on cupcakes, but I love doing cake balls because they're less precise. And anyway, you'll see that. So anyway, I just want to share both. But first of all, I want you to know that there's two types of cooks. There's a scientist type and the artsy type. I'm the artsy type. My sister happens to be the scientist type. She's, accurate measurements and what, and I'm like, oh, whatever, just fling it on. So one day she came to me and she said, she bought 2 sets of these measuring spoons, and she said, all right, now, one's for you and one's for me, and when you say a smidgen, a dash, or a pinch, it better be. Sorry, I don't use those. So if I say smidgen, dash, or pinch, that means it can't be messed up. And if it is, it can be fixed. So, but first of all, we're going to do cupcakes. And my favorite, well, all of you know that I have the gluten-free or gluten intolerant thing, but I didn't have it all my life. And anyway, I was really sick, and then they finally found out what it was, and at first I just was devastated, and then I decided there were a lot worse things to have in life, so I'm good with it. And I found cheater ways, and my favorite one's this lady, and I kept finding on Pinterest everything that I liked was hers, every cupcake, everything, and I'd done a few cupcakes off Pinterest, and finally I got the cookbook, and I believe it used to be at Siegel Book, and I think it's probably still there. And then likewise, this cake pop book ends up to be my favorite book as well. They both use cake mixes. It's really easy. You can use any cake mix you want if you have a family favorite. Not cake mix, yeah, your own recipe. They tend to be a little heavier cakes, homemade cakes, and so it kind of just depends on what you want. I did find that just a regular box cake mix is a little bit light, and so that's okay for kid's birthday party or whatever, but if you want a special occasion, then I just love her and stuff because she'll do, I'll just read one recipe. I'll just open it up and we'll do a different one. Okay, this one. So this one has a devil food cake mix, malted milk powder, eggs, oil, buttermilk, sour cream, and vanilla. And you think this is not going to turn out. And actually some of them are kind of flat, but that's okay because, more frosting. So when I'm making the cupcakes, I'm not saying that I'm perfect, but it is easier to. I'm going to show you some that are overfilled. So this is just slightly overfilled. That was probably 3/4 full. And then your exact ones like this one, a double cup, some of those. This is exactly 2/3. That's the perfect. And then I think I left home the ones that were 1/2. So this is the only time I subscribe to my sister's thing of exact science. So I think this is a number 24 scoop, and it is exactly 2/3 if it's level, not any more. And so that makes it really easy just to scoop. The other key is buy 2 cupcake pans because it's just easier to bake once. It goes faster, and it seems that the cake mix, I don't know if you've noticed when you do the first batch, in the pan it starts to rise, and then when you go to scoop the others, they don't have the same consistency and height as the first batch did. So just make it, fill 2 pans. Her recipes do 2 pans pretty much even all the time. And use your scoop. 2/3 is the key. And then to underbake rather than overbake.
Where'd you get your scoop?
My scoop was at For Your Kitchen, but at any kitchen store, and Smith & Edwards. They usually have one as well. And it's the one just after the standard size, and I think there's one up from this cake ball size, but so I think it goes, the one you always get at the grocery store or wherever. This one more, and then this size. I think this is a 24, and I should have looked that up. That would be my sister. She would know. Just whatever. So on that one. And then, so any questions on cake baking? And, okay, so then the next thing we want to do, oh, I was going to talk to you first about color and seasons. Sometimes, okay, I'm going to ask a question here. What color do you think of? You can just holler it out or whatever. When I say Christmas.
Red.
And what color when I say Halloween? Orange. And what color when I say Valentine's Day?
Red.
Yeah. So we have consciously, we've been taught, and our mind subconsciously goes to these colors and flavors as well. What do you think of, what flavor do you think of when you think of Thanksgiving?
Pumpkin.
Spice, huh? And Valentine's Day? Chocolate and cherries, yeah. Like we did. And so sometimes if you want a successful event, if you stick with the traditional flavors and colors, then people don't have to walk in and get the work through that in their mind before they have that. So that's already set up. So you've got that going for you, and then your cupcake. But you can get crazy too. The artsy part of me gets crazy too. Okay, now the second part, what we have to be concerned about is frosting. I don't know. So I'm just going to make a frosting, and any recipe you find of buttercream frosting, that's usually the very best. But, sorry, it does not have to be, it will not be the same every time you make it. It's kind of like bread, where on wet days today I had to put far less moisture into the frosting. And you can make the exact same recipe 10 days, 10 different days, you'd have 10 different end product. But your shortening makes it fluffy and greasy. That's shortening. The water will thin it down, and your powdered sugar will stiffen it up. And if you taste your frosting and if it feels gritty, you add a little more shortening. If it feels greasy, add a little more powdered sugar. If it tastes fine, but you want it a little thinner, add more moisture, whichever. Usually use cream, but you can use water as well. And then any buttercream frosting if you want a pure white frosting, you can replace the butter in it with white shortening, and then butter flavoring, and white vanilla, and then you'll have a pure white. You'll have a pure white frosting. Okay, so I'm just gonna show you what I usually do. And I usually do my seasonings, and I didn't bring we'll just borrow this. So on my recipe that I'll get to you because I didn't bring it tonight. But anyway, it has vanilla's your strongest, so you do 2, and then 1 butter, and then a half almond extract, and a dash of salt. So that's how that goes. So 2, 1, and a half. So if you've doubled your recipe, you do 2 tablespoons of vanilla, 1 tablespoon of butter flavoring. 4 2. Oh, okay. 4 2. And then whatever the rest of whatever. add a dash of salt to, I guess what do they call it? I don't know, it just kicks up the sugar, just enhances everything, brings it in more dimension rather than just flat. And what I like to do is to, let's see, this recipe has 3 tablespoons of either water or cream, whichever you use today. I'm gonna do cream, but I like to do my liquids and my shortening first and get that fluffy. And it just mixes all the flavors together all evenly so you don't have pockets of flavor. So I try to add more air to the shortening at this point rather than later, because you get a smoother frosting to decorate with if there's less air in it. But I can show you how to get rid of that too. And this was about 4 cups, and we needed 3 3/4 or 3 1/2, depending on the day. And you think it's not going to go together, and then all of a sudden it does. And you can really make it way too thin at this point if you're impatient and put milk in, liquid in at this point. Okay, so at this point I can tell that it's extremely dry, so I'm just going to add a tiny bit at a time, because you can always add more, but you can't take it away. Okay, now at this point, when you pull it out, it keeps its shape, and that's called a stiff frosting. If you take it back with a clean spoon or your finger, but I'm going to do my finger today. Actually, this borders on loose, but not runny. But if it were truly a firm, when you tap that, there would be nothing on your spoon or your finger. So for the cupcake frosting, it's better that it's just a little bit thinner than this. This would be more like for cake decorating on your crumb coat, or to fill in spaces. So I'm going to add just a little more. That's probably way too much, but we'll get on to
If it's too runny, don't you add more sugar? If it's too thick, you just add more milk.
yeah, you can, yeah, and pretty soon,
And then you have a huge bowl.
and you have to,
I mean, ice cream, that's what people do.
exactly. Okay, so that, I don't know, it's still kind of on the stiff, and it's really strange, because all of a sudden it'll just go too runny. Let's see, what would you use a runny? Sometimes on the cake balls they'll use a runny frosting to put decorate, but it flows better. And I don't want to ruin all of it into a runny, but I would put a little bit in that. If it fits in here. Okay, so that's more of a thin, but not quite runny yet. So I don't know, it's a strange day. Things aren't, it's just day to day. So if you don't think it's you, it's more of a creamy, whipped cream texture. And that flows out of your tubes better if you're writing or doing other things. Okay, so now your frosting's all ready. And it's over here, I will spill it, I know. questions?
Your butter, you use, because you're adding salt, do you use unsalted butter,
You know what,
or does that matter?
it doesn't matter to me. Yeah, I just use salted pretty much all the time. I usually always use salted, so unless the unsalted is on sale. But, so it really doesn't matter. Okay, so have you ever heard of ganache? I'll go to that. Have you heard of ganache? Do you know how hard that is to make? It's not. Chocolate chips, 1 cup of chocolate chips and 1/4 cup of cream in the microwave, stir it together, and you have ganache, and it's the most amazing stuff. And you have to hide it from yourself because you might just eat it on everything, pancakes, whatever there is. And a lot of times they'll use a ganache as a decoration. I should find it.
What did you say it was?
Ganache is just chocolate and cream. If I can find it.
Do you ever just take a spoon and just eat it?
Oh, yeah.
I would never.
I should have marked this, but you can just come up and look later. They've drizzled it over the top of the frosting after they've made it, so you can drizzle it, or sometimes maybe your cupcakes were a little hard on the sides. You cooked them maybe a little too long. A lot of times they'll just put it in, and some of them are already done, and some aren't. But then you can just do a coating. You let this dry, and then you can just put your regular frosting on top, and it'll moisten up your bottom. And as well, if you're going to do maybe a frosting that isn't all the way to the edge, like a lot of hers, the frosting isn't all the way to the edge. Well, if you're not going to eat those that day, the edge is going to dry out. So if you are planning and you need to make them ahead of time, then you can use a ganache or a glaze on top of it, and then you're frosting.
So 1 cup of chocolate chips and how much cream?
1 cup of chocolate chips, dark chocolate, and 1/4 cup of cream.
Does it make a difference if you use milk chocolate?
It just wouldn't be as intense. It wouldn't be as good. No.
I don't like dark chocolate. I like the milk chocolate.
Yeah, I think it would be just fine. Yeah, if it just be a lighter version. So anyway, here's like Martha. She's done all the way to the edge, and so yeah, the whole thing's capped off. So you can put like I said, a glaze, or and it depends on your flavor too. If maybe you're doing a lemon cupcake or a plain cupcake, you want just a hint of lemon. You do an intense flavored glaze, and then the frosting on top that isn't as lemony. Oh, whoops, I'm out of it. Okay, so now we're going to go on to bagging your frosting. Who's used cake decorator bags and tips before? Okay. So it's best if when you go to load your bag, you put the edge down so that it doesn't get the frosting on it, and you'll have a top to twist it in the end. And then you can make your frosting, and it will last 3 months in the fridge if you put it in an airtight container. So
Does it say soft stick?
it will stay soft if you have like a lid on it. And then, that's what I was going to tell you. So if you go to use it, never microwave it, because the butter will go. I mean, it's just like a stick of butter. If you've accidentally softened one too long in the microwave, it's gone. There's no way to get it back into that shape. Same with the frosting. So always just leave it out at room temperature and before you work with it. And then if it has dried out a little, occasionally it will, but you can just add a little cream or milk or water and with it, and it'll get back. And if you have too many air bubbles, like I was talking about, you just take the back of your spatula or a spoon, and if you go back and forth, it'll push the bubbles out. You don't have to, but for some reason while it's just sitting there. I swear it gets more air in it, but I just like to stir it a little to get rid of, so you have a smoother frosting. And I just start with a little. I've also saw, I think it was in her book, she put it in a glass. So she put this whole bag in a glass and then filled it and then lifted it out. Hope I'm not taking too long. Tell me how long I've been. Okay. And then if you want a double bag, so you want one as it comes out, so you want orange on this side and white on that side. You would take a knife, you'd lay it this way, take a knife and fill it from the tip to the back with one color and flip it over and fill with your knife that way. And you have two colors, and then of course at first it's not going to be amazing, but as you keep squishing, pretty soon it's just totally amazing and you didn't even have to do much except fill that bag. Okay, so at this point we're gonna get all the air out we can, but don't let the frosting seep out the back. Then twist it, and always keep your a grip on this. If that's kind of a hard concept because the other thing you're doing is squeezing and moving, so that's 3 things to remember. Sometimes I do better with 1 or 2, but not 3. So I did put a twist tie there. You can put a twist tie in the back of this, and then you don't have to think about that part. So today I decided to make, first of all, it's St. Patrick's Day, so I'm going to go and do,
Where do you make those so easy?
well, I guess. I'm nervous. It didn't look so good. Okay, so then if it doesn't look so good, you just keep going, or you scrape it off and throw it back in the thing. So anyway, okay, so I messed up. I'm going to scrape that off and put it back in.
Mine would be like 10 feet tall.
Is that a bad thing?
Oh, maybe on purpose.
I'm thinking that's not a bad thing.
Okay. So we have pressure and movement, and when you want to stop, you stop your pressure and pull away. If you don't stop your pressure and pull away, you're going to have a big long tail. So you kind of have to think of those things while you're going. In order to do a rosette, they start in the middle and stay flat, and then you stop and pull down. And then in this book, she starts, to make the big tall ones, she starts in the middle, goes out, and then on top of that, back up again. I just like to go around and stack it up and come up. So this is going to be my St. Patrick's Day, and I found these cute little mustaches, and I'm going to keep with the theme of green and whatever. I'm going to start in the middle, and I didn't do it again. Okay, this one's a rosette. So that one's rosette. And I've noticed if you'd let it dry for a minute, then tap the edges, that's better. And the other hint is, if you want extra sprinkles on, it's best to do 1 cupcake sprinkles, 1 cupcake sprinkles. Of course, it's going to dry out. Because if you notice that your sprinkles aren't sticking, then that's why, because it was too much time in between. And then on the sprinkles, I've noticed that less is more, usually, and then more intense in the center and just let the others fall where they may. So we're going to go with this mustache and a cute little straw for St. Patrick's Day. So, and I'm just showing you these. There's all these things up here. Use your own creativity, and you don't have to necessarily follow what I do. Okay, so the second one I wanted to do was the Easter cupcake. And this one, these are banana, those are chocolate, and these are pink lemonade. So you can choose on those as well. Everybody can do do 2, and then whatever's left, anybody can use as well. So on this one, I'm going to make a little Easter nest, I guess you'd call it. So I'm doing the rosette, and then I'm going to go up one more time. And then I've colored coconut. And I'm going to use my fingers because I'll be the one eating.
Did you buy that or did you?
I just colored it, and just put colored coconut in the middle for the nest, or grass, whatever.
You just add food coloring, right, to
Yeah.
the coconut?
This is just water. Well, I have the paste food coloring, so I watered it down a little, but you can just do the food coloring and coconut and just shake the bottle and it colors. Then I decided there was Easter eggs in here. And my little Easter bunny that tried to steal an egg. So anyway, that's the one for that one. And then you can do, I don't think I really showed you how to do the tall one, so I'll try that again. Usually start with the big, go around, stand up around the cone that you made at the beginning, and then to the top. And that's where you get the mega frosting. And what should we decorate that with? You know, I just can't stand plain cupcakes, so we'll put, well, that doesn't match. Usually you have it planned out before, but say this is for a more dressy formal sugar. And there's also raw sugar, just plain raw sugar is a fun thing to use on a more natural look. And so whatever, you just use your creativity at this point. Is there any questions? Anyone?
What do you do if you want different color frosting?
Oh, well, you can do whatever, no, you can use just the liquid cheapy paste, watery food coloring, so you can, I have gel paste, and that you just use like a little bit on a toothpick and just put it in. And flavorings, that's another thing I was going to tell you. If you're going to flavor your frosting, if it entails a lot of liquid, say orange juice or lemon juice, then consider that when you're putting the liquids into your frosting, or otherwise, you wouldn't put the same amount of liquid. You'd start with your flavoring and then add the extra liquid up above and beyond that. Get the right consistency. Okay, so you guys get to play with that. Okay, now my second favorite that has to do with no, any more questions? No more questions?
You guys are too involved.
You are.
What about the filling that goes inside?
Oh, okay, good. Glad you asked. Okay, so say I'm going to fill this cupcake. Oh, wait. Okay, so there's like custards and like a pineapple custard or whatever. Those you generally cut just a cone shape out with your knife. Just be careful you don't go all the way to the bottom. So you cut a cone shape out. You'll put the filling in there. Sometimes you can cut the top of the cone off and put the hat back on. Or another way, if you're going to use creams, they have these real long fillers, and you just put them in the bags, like the bags that you have. I prefer disposable bags because after the creativity is over, I hate the mess, and so I just cut them off and clean the tips, but throw the bag away. And my favorite filling for cream uses Cool Whip and pudding. So you just mix those two together, I'll find the proportions, and it's because it's not one-to-one. And the pudding stabilizes the cream, and then you just squish it in your cupcake. So this goes like, make sure again that you don't go all the way to the bottom, and you just squeeze, and you can kind of feel if it's starting to expand or it's going to tear or whatever. So that's the only thing you have to be careful. But you know, if you have blowouts, you get even, right? Okay. All right. Sorry, I just gave me away. I knew I shouldn't do that, but it's probably. Okay. Now we'll go to cake balls. Who was interested in cake balls? Anybody? Okay. Okay, so you can do, there's cake bites, and that means it's the size of a bite. There's cake balls, which is about the size of 2 bites, and that's what we're going to do tonight, or there's cake pops. And the pop has a stick, and it's usually a bigger one. And so, they are yummy little treats, and you can make the balls ahead and put them in the freezer, and they last up to probably 2 months in the freezer, if they last that long. And I was wondering if she had a picture of the sizes, but okay, so these are probably the actual size, bite, ball, and then that's the size you do on a pop. This is the one that I used for the cake ball. So now Marlene, was it you that was interested? Okay, come up here.
Oh, no.
What if I blow it?
You can't blow it on this. You can't.
So you cook your cake first.
So you cook your cake, and she has really interesting things. She puts different flavorings and stuff into her cake mixes. Let me see.
And that's just a
So
regular cake.
she uses cake mixes again, and then we'll show you what we do after that. So, hey Marlon,
Okay.
you're going to cut that in half.
This
Do
way?
you want gloves? You're going to
Yeah.
need gloves for this part.
I want my awful hands all over everything.
I'm not
Do you need a partner? Who else?
Put it in the middle of the.
Come on, partners. Who wants to be my partner?
Kelly.
So cut it with this?
You can just cut it in half,
half, okay. Well, that's not quite half.
and then lift up half of it and throw it in the pan. You can use your hands too.
Oh, yes, that's right. Yeah.
And then the other half in the pan. And who else was interested?
Kelly was.
Kelly.
What do we do with this? Eat it?
Yeah.
Anyone want to eat the?
Kelly's gonna get over on that side.
What flavor is that
You're gonna use
cake?
the fork, and she's gonna use her hands, and you're gonna crumble
probably
it up
that
till
way.
it's just crumbly.
Ooh, fun.
Okay.
Come on, Kelly. I hope I don't poke you.
So these were pink lemonade cake balls, and
It smells good. I think hands is better than fork. It's really easier. I don't want to stab it either. Pretty good. This is fun.
Electric Major
Nice.
Cake, according to what she says, and basically hers are the same, but if you're gonna do like a mint cake mix, or mint cake ball, then she enhances the flavor with mint flavoring, if it's lime, which we're gonna do key lime pie, and it has lime juice in it. Yeah. And if you're making really white ones and you don't, say maybe you overcooked it or it got a little brown on the side, you can just cut that off. It isn't an exact science again, and that's why I like it. And then, so then we're gonna add frosting to this, and she has fun.
I'll see. I feel like I'm in front of
Okay.
people.
So we need 1 cup, and that's a ½ cup measuring cup. So we need 1 cup of the frosting. And that's a strawberry lemonade frosting.
Go in there.
And once again, it's not
And
exact
it goes
science.
right in here?
I don't know if you need it.
Straighten hands.
of a wet consistency, and then, what they're going to do, and we'll just leave it up here if you wanna come and try one. What I've done tonight is, freeze these in the freezer to make it easier to dip, and, you can also try your hand at putting sticks in it. That's a little more complicated because sometimes they break open, and so we're not gonna do that tonight either. What you're going to do is stick a toothpick in your cake ball, dip it in the dipping chocolate, and then put it in a cup.
How would you put
Your little cup.
How would you put a stick in if you want to do that for your grandkids?
Make bigger balls, probably one size bigger, or within a scoop if you want bigger. Then you dip it in a dipping chocolate. Well, first you take those cake balls and put them in the fridge for about 20 minutes. So frosting and everything sets up a little, so it's a little stiffer. Then you would dip your stick into the cake, or into the candy coating as far down as you want the stick to go in. And don't put your stick in more than half the way, or it'll more likely break apart. And then you'll put the stick in at that point. Probably 1/3 is the best. And then put it back in the fridge, let it set before you dip them. Here's your freezer. Okay, let's see what consistency you get. Okay, that looks good. Okay, so at this point,
What's it look like? Show us.
oh yeah,
It looks like Play-Doh.
Is it like a dough?
Yeah, it's just like a dough.
it's like
It is like Play-Doh.
yeah.
Is that the same frosting recipe that you made over here?
You know what, I just did what she, here, I'll read it to you, it's right here. So what she did for this one. Well, I can't find it, but basically it was the buttercream, and then, there was some lemon extract and some lemon, zest, lemon zest. So anyway, it was the first time, oh, whoops, I forgot to tell you. Yeah, you have to roll it in your hand. Roll it in your hand like you're making meatballs.
Oh, okay. You scoop it out and then
Scoop it
roll.
scoop it out and then roll it. I forgot to tell you. So hold one up and let me see what. So
Like a
you
meatball?
pick it up. Yep, just like
Like a
meatballs.
meatball.
Just like meatballs. Put them on wax paper, put them in the freezer. They say fridge, but I never could get mine. I just didn't have success with dipping it after that. You can dip it with a fork, but what we found was the best was to dip it with a toothpick, and then you'll take a second toothpick and push it off onto your cup, and then if you want sprinkles on it, do that immediately before it dries so that they'll stick. And there's also a little squeezy thing. So your lime ones, you're going to dip in the white candy coats, and then you're going to sprinkle.
Anybody else want to try it?
Yeah,
Want to try it?
we'll just leave it there.
Well, we're not finished.
Yeah, just leave it there, and you can take your hand at it, but. Cool. So, let's see. Oh, so the green squeezy, you're gonna squeeze across and make a St. Patrick's out of the lime one. Okay, so here's the red, but yours is gonna be green, so you'll squeeze across the top. And then the chocolate ones will be dipped in mint chocolate. I lied. Your chocolate ones didn't have green because it's mint. So, or whatever you want to do. You can do whatever you want. But anyway, and then if you want extra sprinkles on top of that, make sure that it's still wet when you do it. And, oh, the balls at this frozen state. So you can put them on the cookie sheet, freeze them in the freezer, and then after they're frozen, probably about 2 hours, at least 2 hours, you can put them in a bag, and the airtight Ziploc bag, and they can stay in the freezer for 2 months, up to 2 months. Dip them anytime, couple, some, none. Eat them without, whatever you want. But any questions on that? Just get
Are you
ready.
gonna give us all the recipes?
Yeah, sure. But I don't know, you might have to buy the, I'm not pushing the book, but anyway, there isn't one in here that I've tried that I don't like. And I can do gluten-free cake mixes, that's, because basically she uses chocolate, yellow or white, and so, and adapts everything to that.
Do you make your own gluten-free cake?
I don't. Yeah, purchase. My son has it in for almond flour cake mixes, and then since then Betty Crocker came out with one, and that's a really good one. Yeah, it's really not worth it to start from scratch on that one because it's barely cutting it as it is. But anyway.